A decade had passed since Alina signed the divorce papers, and in that time, solitude had become her only true companion. At 45, she had grown accustomed to the quiet, to the way the house settled at night, its stillness mirroring her own. The walls held echoes of a family once whole, laughter now mere memories. She spent her days in routine, mornings with black coffee, afternoons buried in paperwork, evenings lost in books that dulled the ache of loneliness. It was a life she had learned to live, if not fully accept. Then, one night, a knock at the door disrupted the silence. It was soft, hesitant, almost uncertain. Alina hesitated before rising, heart pounding against her ribs. She wasn't expecting anyone, hadn't for years. When she opened the door, her breath caught. There stood Lucas, her son, now a man of 25. The last time Alina had seen him, Lucas had been an angry teenager storming away, unwilling to forgive her for the divorce. Lucas looked different, older, tired, yet there was something familiar in his wary gaze. Without a word, he stepped inside. The air between them was heavy with unspoken words. Alina stepped aside, allowing Lucas to enter. The house hadn't changed much since he had left, though time had layered dust over forgotten memories. Lucas walked slowly, glancing around, his hands stuffed deep into his pockets. There was a hesitancy in his movements, as if he was stepping into a past he wasn't sure he wanted to face. Alina swallowed hard. "You should sit down," she said, gesturing toward the living room. Lucas nodded and sank into the old leather couch, the same one he used to lounge on as a teenager. Alina remained standing for a moment, trying to gather herself. She had dreamed of this moment, of reconciliation, of second chances. But now that Lucas was here, she found herself at a loss for words. "You look well," Alina finally said, her voice strained. Lucas let out a breath that was almost a laugh. "I get by." Silence stretched between them, thick and uncomfortable. There was so much to say, yet neither knew where to start. Alina sat down, across from her son, resting her hands on her knees. "I didn't think I'd see you again." Lucas met her gaze, his expression unreadable. "I didn't think I'd come back." Alina studied her son, searching for the boy she once knew beneath the weary eyes and hardened jawline. Time had sculpted Lucas into someone different, someone unfamiliar. The years had taken their toll, but Alina couldn't tell if they had been kind or cruel. "Are you hungry?" Alina asked, grasping for something, anything, to ease the tension. Lucas hesitated, then shrugged. "I could eat." Alina nodded and stood, moving toward the kitchen. Cooking had become a refuge over the years, a quiet ritual that demanded just enough focus to keep her mind from wandering. She pulled out a pan, cracking eggs into it as the oil sizzled. The scent of butter filled the space between them, mingling with memories of long-lost breakfasts before school, when things had been simpler. Lucas leaned against the doorway, watching. "You still make eggs the same way." Alina glanced over her shoulder. "Some habits don't change." Lucas exhaled, rubbing the back of his neck. "I guess not." For the first time that night, the silence felt less like a wall and more like a bridge. Tentative but real. As Alina slid the eggs onto a plate, she set it in front of Lucas, who hesitated before picking up a fork. He took a bite, chewing slowly, his expression unreadable. Alina sat across from him, watching in quiet contemplation. "Used to hate eggs," Lucas muttered, a hint of amusement in his tone. "Mom always made me eat them." Alina smiled faintly. She always did believe in a balanced breakfast. Lucas nodded, pushing the eggs around his plate. "I guess I got used to them. Had to." Alina wanted to ask where he had been, what had happened in the years they'd spent apart, but she didn't want to push. Instead, she let the quiet stretch between them, allowing Lucas to decide when or if he was ready to talk. Finally, Lucas set his fork down and looked up. "I didn't come here to fight." Alina met his gaze. "I don't want to fight either." Lucas exhaled. "Good. Because I don't think I have the energy for it anymore." Alina nodded, understanding more than she let on. Then let's just start with this. A meal. A conversation. No expectations. Lucas hesitated, then gave a small nod. Yeah, that sounds good. And for the first time in 10 years, Alina felt something shift, something hopeful, something real. After they finished eating, Alina collected the plates and rinsed them under the faucet. Lucas remained seated at the table, tapping his fingers against the wood, as if debating whether to speak. Alina let the moment linger, giving him space. Finally, Lucas cleared his throat. I wasn't sure where else to go. Alina turned off the tap and dried her hands with a dish towel. You don't have to explain. Lucas shook his head. No, I do. He sighed, running a hand through his hair. Life hasn't exactly gone as planned. Alina sat back down, folding her hands. It rarely does. Lucas let out a dry chuckle. Yeah, I thought by now I'd have things figured out. But it turns out, I'm just as lost as I was when I left. Alina resisted the urge to say she understood too well. Instead, she offered a quiet, steady presence. You're here now. That's what matters. Lucas looked up, searching his mother's face for something. Forgiveness, maybe. Or just reassurance that he wasn't alone. After a long pause, he nodded. I guess it is. The night stretched on, but for the first time in years, neither of them seemed in a hurry to end it. The clock on the wall ticked softly, marking the quiet moments between them. Lucas shifted in his seat, glancing toward the window where the night stretched endlessly outside. Alina watched him, waiting. I left a lot behind, Lucas admitted, his voice barely above a whisper. Things I thought I could walk away from. Alina folded her arms, nodding slightly. And now? Lucas sighed. Now, I'm not so sure. Alina didn't push, sensing the weight of her son's words. Instead, she reached for the coffee pot, pouring 2 cups. She slid one across the table. You don't have to figure it all out tonight. Lucas picked up the cup, wrapping his hands around its warmth. I know, but I need to start somewhere. Alina gave him a small, knowing smile. Then start here. Lucas took a slow sip, and for the first time, the tension in his shoulders eased. The past wasn't erased, but maybe, just maybe, it wasn't insurmountable either. Lucas set the coffee, cup down, and exhaled deeply. I need a place to stay, just for a while. Alina studied her son's face, noting the hesitation, the vulnerability. Of course, you can stay as long as you need. Lucas gave a small nod, relief evident in his expression. Thanks, Alina stood. I'll get the guest room ready. As she walked down the hall, she realized something. This house, which had felt so empty for so long, suddenly felt a little less lonely. As Alina pulled fresh sheets from the closet, she heard Lucas shifting around in the living room. She smiled faintly to herself. The house, for the first time in years, felt alive again,